with our challenges, assessing needs and finding solutions. Short-term, mid-range, and long-term. Solutions can find us working in the margins. Today's world is a tough baseline. It's more difficult than ever to just exist or get by. And it's not getting any easier. Moving forward in today's world has become both an art and a science. Food, clothing, temporary shelter, long-term housing, short-term jobs, temporary employment, or long-range careers. It all takes some help and finesse. Not everyone can do it. It's an art and a science. And let's face it, not everyone is a scientist. Some people need more help than others. The basics like reliable transportation, internet, laundry, a regular shower, even water, those basics we all take for granted. Electricity, these are the challenges of those caught in the net, are homeless, unhoused, housing challenged, living in the margins. People of all ages, young, middle-aged, senior citizens, entire families, male, female, all reasons and all walks of life. Anyone can find themselves living in the margins. Homelessness and the challenges that go with it are not going away, and we can't ignore them. It's just too expensive. We've got to do better. Take the next step forward. Tune in and listen to Working in the Margins.
Hello, San Bernardino. Hello, Inland Empire. This is Shazette, and you have tuned in to Working in the Margins with Z. That's me, Shazette. I'm here on KCAA 1050 AM 106.5 FM. This is the station that leaves no listener behind. And we are in the lovely studios of Teamsters Local 1932 here in downtown San Bernardino on 4th and between 4th and 5th off of Sierra. They have a lovely campus here. So today, there's a lot to unpack, I guess, from the last few days, and there's some significant events that I want to share with you. Some anniversary of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, I think. Originally 1957, but it wasn't signed until much later. And this is this weekend, the 21st is the day that we observe World Peace Day here in this country and the world, I guess. So I want to talk to you. I did a lot of research, and I love research because I learn so much. I'm constantly educating myself about things that I'm interested in, and I knew already. I was like, because the anniversary of the Civil Rights Act was first, and then World Peace Day, and I was like, I want to talk about both of them, so how am I going to do this? But I figured out a way, y'all. So, and then today is the anniversary of 9/11, and I want to pay due respect to that legacy of America, that terrible event, that day, and the people that we lost as a country. So before we go to break in a little while, we'll go with a moment of silence for those folks that were lost on 9/11. So in my research, I found out so many things about the Civil Rights Act, and why it's important, why it's still important, why it's always going to be important. But I have to break things down. So the base, why was I interested in this? Why does it mean something to me? Because voting matters. And I think that we are finding that out more now than any other time in history. Voting matters. And I am from the population, the marginalized community, where my people, my ancestors, they fought and died for the right to vote in this country. So it matters to me. It should matter to any of us that understand what our voting voice is and how it should be used. So I want to give you a little history about the act, um, and what it means today, um, and how why it's important today still, and what we should be looking for. Should we still be marching in these streets for our right to vote? Because there's a lot of suppression going on. So, but the actual anniversary was on September 9th. But it was on September 9th that President Eisenhower signed the Civil Rights Act of 1957. And it was the first civil rights legislation passed since Reconstruction. So it was a huge milestone. It was fought for and paid for with blood in the streets of abolition. I call them abolitionists. They were freedom fighters, people who supported this that weren't black, but supported the right for people to be able to vote. Um, but this law, the Civil Rights Act, it didn't just emerge. It started with the 1954 Brown versus the Board of Education decision, and that came in a time of Jim Crow like conditions in the South, fierce resistance, and then but yet, the black and brown communities, they were able to rise up, and they were refusing to be silent, and they laid the foundation for stronger protections to come. So I want to share with you why it was primarily focused when it started on voting rights. And the goal was to get that all Americans, not black Americans, all Americans, regardless of race, could exercise their right to vote. That's what it's predicated on. It created the Civil Rights Division with the Department of Justice, and it gave power to federal prosecutors to intervene cases of voter suppression. The Civil Rights Act at that time was probably the most contentious. Um, it was the linchpin to the Civil Rights Act, to the Civil Rights Movement, to the Civil Rights Movement. The voting rights was the linchpin. It was the goal. We weren't going to get anything else. They weren't going to just give those marginalized communities anything else unless we were legally and paid with our souls and our blood to actually make a difference and be able to voice and to be and they did not they did not make it easy. It was terrible times then. But that act at that time, it had limitations. There were some senators from down south like Strom Thurmond. Um, they did crazy things like filibuster. They did not want this bill, y'all. He filibustered for over 24 hours on the floor because in opposition, he did not. They didn't want this bill. Um, and then the final version, it just didn't really have any teeth in it. It wasn't enforceable. It was very, very weak. Um, it 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 didn't even it didn't have protections. It didn't even have protections in it for the actions that the blacks and the browns and the freedom riders, they didn't have protections in there for them to even fight for the right to vote. So a lot of those folks lost their lives. Grassroots organizers, church leaders, students. They did everything. They tried to have voter drives, and it just didn't. It was so hard fought. So many people fought. Um, every black people, white people, from every nationality, people came from out of the country for this fight because they knew how important it was. And it didn't stop in 1957. We didn't gain much ground, but it didn't stop in 1957. The momentum continued to the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which finally gave some teeth. So if you violate these laws, people, then the government's going to come after you. That's what we wanted. That's what we needed. That's what we were looking for in the earlier versions. It just wasn't there. But it took, that's almost, 9 years. It took that long. But the the version that we got was the best version we got at that time. And I can say that because I know they've been trying to erode that version, and with I don't think there's been any improvements, but they're constantly, the government, there's certain factions of the government that are constantly trying to take away and to erode it. I want to talk about what we can do as a community, as a society, to protect, because it's always under fire. It's under fire right now. I worry every cycle that that the government is going to, not all governments, this recent government, I'm worried about it, that they're going to dismantle the Civil Rights Act or abolish it. And I don't think anyone, I know I can't, I don't think anyone can imagine not having civil rights in your life, in your community, in your country, that you don't have civil rights. So that means anybody can do or say anything to you, and you have no way to protect yourself. You have no way to protect yourself. And all this comes down to voting. Is who we put in office. Is who we feel they're always going to protect our rights, our communities, for our kids and our families. And I'll be honest, who's there now in the federal government? That's not their motive. That's not their work. Their work is to continue to marginalize. This administration appears to continue to want to marginalize already marginalized communities. And keep them powerless. Voting is a power. Voting can be a superpower in a small group. Everything is local. You can make change voting in your local cities, in your neighborhoods, in your community. What we can do? What can we do? We can register to vote. Of course, register to vote. Make that a thing, like in your family, to go register to vote, voting, go in the voting box, make it a thing. It's important, and we got to teach these kids, even if they're not your kids. If you're around kids or churches and things like that, teach them that voting, they have the right. When they turn 18, they had a right to direct the course of the government and the cities and the policies around them that affect them every single day. They have that power at the ballot box. Keep supporting organizations fighting for voting rights. Send them some change every now and again. Keep doing it. Make it consistent, but send them some change. Fighting for anything takes money. Fighting for really, really important things sometimes takes more money. And this is a really, really important thing. Educate yourself and your community. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to educate. I'm educating myself as I'm trying to educate my community. And I love having this platform to be able to do it. Sometimes we just need a reminder. We already know these things. We just need a reminder. We need somebody like Shalette to come along and say, hey, I need to be more active in my voting. Show up for local elections. That's where it matters, y'all. It's these local elections. It's who's your supervisors, who's your city council people. Those are the ones that make decisions about the very water that you drink, the roads that you drive, the parks that you spend time in, the mountains that you climb, the waters that you swim in or boat in, go into the river. That is all is protected. It's monitored, it's legislated, there's protections, there's, you just can't go to the river and just pee in the river. You can, I guess, if you don't get caught, but but there's rules against it. You can't, and those decisions, a lot of those decisions are made at the local level. Your city councils, your supervisor board meetings, um, your neighborhood. They have different neighborhood meetings. I know there's a city. I think it's Rialto or no, I'm not gonna lie because But it's like they have a citizens board of people that makes decisions like right there in the neighborhood. I love that. I love local politics. I love local politics, and I like keeping up on local stuff. This is the stuff that affects your kids, your school board. People don't know. They hear about crazy school board stuff. Go check it out. See if it's something that you might want to get involved in. Maybe it's too crazy. Maybe you can go calm them down and see what, make them focus, or if crazy is your thing and, you're passionate about school rights, get involved. Show up. I think that's the main thing. Show up, be involved, make it important. Um, there was this, her name is Nandy Henderson. I found this quote, and she said, "Even when the winds feel small, they can change the future. It happens step by step, election by election, especially in our local communities. Especially, you get those. The kids go to school, and they have PTAs, I think, or PTOs, the parent teacher organizations, and they said, you can join, and I don't know, I don't ever remember paying to be part of the PTA. I just had to volunteer. So maybe is that how it goes still, Eric, in the school? Okay, so that's how I remember with my boy. You could join, you didn't have to pay, but you raise money though. Like we had bake sales and stuff like that. They sold stuff, little booklets and candles and stuff. um, but I remember that was like my first exposure to like be elections, like being because they elect you, get to be the PTA president. They have like little boards. That was like my really first exposure at local where it could make a difference. And I remember, I think it was Citrus Elementary School in Upland. I was there, I think, or that's where my kid was. But I remember they had a very active PTA. Like they took the kids on, raised a lot of money. They had trips and stuff like that. So that's where we need to start, folks. Local in our communities, run for something. Let your voice be heard. You know, they trying to shut us up, y'all. I'm telling you, I see it. I hear it on I'm very particular about my news and where I get it. So and I like to hear other people who kind of think outside the box. It's not wrong. It's not crazy. It's just different. It's like, but a lot of them, they think how they say what I feel, but I don't say, because it's like, oh, that don't sound right. Why am I being paranoid? But sometimes you're not paranoid. Sometimes they really are out to get you. So, and with this voter suppression and mixing, they're redrawing district lines off season, and now there's a whole ballot measure. This is the craziest stuff. But this is all to suppress the vote of people, and it's not necessarily black people or Mexican people or people of color. It's all people, because it's not even a black or white thing. It's a blue or red thing. And the red want more red, so they're going to redistrict so they can have more red. Now the blues have to redistrict off season. They messed up our whole cycle. Off season, people know when you do redistricting, because there's some time in there where there's a census. And so now you know how to redistrict according to who's in your district, who's there, who's, the people that are actually there. So now this is just we got to redistrict down here because we have to keep it even. We can't just let them cheat. If we know they're going to cheat, we can't just let them cheat. We have to, make it hard for them to cheat, which is just not, why are we having to, we have to, I guess, we got to get down in the mud a little bit with them too. That's not unheard of, having to get down in the mud. Sometimes you got to get down in the mud. There was a whole bunch of folks that had to get down in it and stay in it. Some didn't get up to fight for the Civil Rights Act. And I owe everything to those people. Every abolitionist, every person that supported the rights of people in this country. And I know, and they knew that it wasn't going to change overnight. It was 9 years, almost 10 years, for that to finally come to fruition, where it was at least something, progressive. It looked progressive. It looked inclusive. So that's the Voting Rights Act. So Google it, read up on it yourselves. Find some history on it. It's really good Black history. They're trying, it's a really good history period. It's not just Black history, but some of this stuff is disappearing off the shelves in this country. Some of this knowledge, some of this information, they're trying to take it away. So find something, Google it, find out why it's important and why it should be important, and save it. Make a note. Put it in something. We're going to go to break, and I'll be right back, and we're going to talk about World Peace Day. World Peace Day. We'll be right back.
KCAA Loma Linda. The Legacy KCAA 1050 AM and Express 106.5 FM.
Here's the KCAA Community Calendar for the month of September. Riverside's Alonza Library invites you to their Relax and Color event September 3rd from 10 to 5 p.m. Take a break from your routine and savor in the library's cool climate as you relax your mind by coloring the stress away. 951-826-2218. The City of San Bernardino Senior Service presents Grandparents Celebration, Picnic in the Park, September 6th from 12 to 5. Celebrate grandparents with a free lunch, music, crafts, eating contest, and prizes at Paris Hill Senior Center, located on 21st Street in San Bernardino. Free tickets available at eventbrite.com. In honor of Deaf Awareness Month, all are invited to celebrate deaf identity and enjoy the showing of Godzilla vs. Kong, The New Empire. Meet new people and immerse yourself with the ASL community at the Deaf Social and Movie Night, September 17th from 5:30 to 8 p.m. at 1425 South Waterman Avenue in San Bernardino. Free tickets available at eventbrite.com. Play pickleball at the Vibe Health and Wellness Festival, September 20th from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. The community is invited for a day of fun and health-related information at the Gonzales Community Center in Redlands. Go to vibefestivalofwellness.com. Spooky season is almost upon us as the World of Fantasy Events hosts a Halloween Village 2-day event. Celebrate some favorite strange and unusual Halloween movies, food, trick-or-treating, and more family-friendly activities on September 27th from 4 to 8 p.m. and September 28th from noon to 4 p.m. at the Hillcrest High School in Riverside. Free tickets at eventbrite.com. And that's the latest from the KCAA Community Calendar. I'm Lillian Vasquez on KCAA 1050 AM and 106.5 FM.
KCAA.
Welcome back, San Bernardino, Inland Empire. This is Shazette, and you've tuned in to Working in the Margins with Z, and I am on KCAA 1050 AM 106.5 FM. I talk too fast sometimes, and I forget the numbers. I'm 58. I get to do that. We are in Teamsters Local 1932, the studios here. They got really nice studios here. I was here early today and I kind of like walked around a little bit and I'm like, man, it's really nice here. I do enjoy coming here every week. So, I think, hold on. Yeah, September 21st is the day that we observe World Peace Day. Man, we could, this is so meaningful. I don't know. It's supposed to be always meaningful, but it's so meaningful today. We've just had I feel like we've just been getting smacked around the last few months, and I don't know, feeling peace, seeing peace, and knowing peace. I think we've all been having to look a little bit more, we're inundated with things on our socials and our streams that are not very peaceful or comforting. We're struggling. I think as a nation, we're struggling to stay hopeful. Things change so much. They just change so much so quick. I think everybody feels off moored. I know I do. I don't know. I'm not going to talk about everybody else. I'm going to talk about me. I feel unmoored because it's like every day, it's like lobbing, dodging lobbed grenades. You just don't know if one's going to actually hit you or if it's going to hit somebody that you know, or is it just going to roll by you, or if it's a dud, if it's a joke, because they like to play jokes, They like to play with people's emotions. A lot of it's orchestrated, I think, to elicit the same feelings that I have about, that I get, keep them off kilter. Don't let them know what you're doing, where you're coming from, Man, I'm a Taurus too. I like stability. I'm not adverse to change, but it's got to be meaningful change to get my buy-in. I got to be a part of making the decisions about the changes too. World Peace Day. International Day of Peace. September 21st. I guess it's every year. They say it's every year. I don't know. It seems like one of those floater days, but I don't know. I guess not. It's a day declared by the United Nations to strengthen the ideals of peace, both within and among all nations and peoples. I love that. I love that sentiment. But peace isn't just the absence of war. It's the presence of justice, equity, compassion, and understanding. So it's just not that we aren't fighting each other, because you could do damage by just not talking to folks when you really need to be working some things out. You can't ignore the problems between you. Not everybody can ignore the problems between you or, between countries or what have you. Got to deal with them. And that takes, justice. We got to keep those things in mind when we're trying to settle our differences. Justice, equity, compassion, understanding. I want to see let's see what peace means in our world, how communities are working toward it. So it started in 1981. It was United Nations General Assembly. They said the idea was powerful but simple. To dedicate a day to peace and encourage all nations to observe a ceasefire and nonviolence. Wow, they thought that was simple. It is powerful. I remember back in the day when I was a kid in Los Angeles, down in South Central, and we had gangs down there, and it was like Bloods and Crips. And whenever it was a big deal in the community, when somebody, some nonprofit brother or some of the church or whatever, they could get these folks, the Bloods and the Crips, to come together and do something like play basketball together or paint something together or clean up a field or something. It was a huge deal. I remember growing up in that. Feeling like, man, that was impactful for my community. So this seems like a very large version of that. Let's get everybody to put all their aggression down. And for a day, one day, maybe one day soon, it will be more than one day. They change the theme every year too. The UN does. The UN changes a theme every year. So the theme is Act Now for a Peaceful World. That's what the theme is, I believe. Act Now for a Peaceful World. The Year of Peace and Trust, 2025. That's interesting. That's powerful. The Year of Peace and Trust. I wonder why they felt they needed to put trust in there. Maybe because people are not feeling trustful of the things going on. Like I said, how I was feeling. I don't feel like, anything could happen. Anything could happen. That's not a good feeling. You have some people that thrive on that feeling. Like anything could happen. I don't, not me, Jack. No. I think, what true peace really is. I did a lot of research. I wanted a lot of different opinions. So I said, I put in my Google search. I said, what is real peace? What does real peace look like? Have we ever known that? Have we ever known that? Have we ever seen anything even similar to what real peace is? And the answer I got back was, peace isn't just about ending wars. It's about ending poverty, discrimination, and injustice. It's about creating systems where everyone, regardless of race, gender, nationality, or background, can thrive. I said, even just reading that is peaceful. It seems like so far off. We're so far off track right now. But we gonna continue to fight, right? We got to continue to fight for social justice, economic equity. That's a big one. Economic equity. We probably have. I wonder. I'm going to do a study. I want to do a study because I want to break down these 4 things, and I want to know like what percentage of peace it is. That's probably impossible, but I'm going to find out. So there's social justice, economic equity, environmental sustainability, mental and emotional well-being. I want to break that down. That's what peace is. Economic equity is interesting to me because it's not about me making the same amount of money for the same job that my colleague. It's not about that. That's where people get twisted. What it is that there's not even the thought that that's not a thing, that it's not it's not a problem. That it shouldn't even be a thought. There's no distinction between our work, so there should never be a distinction between our pay, whether we male or female. It should just be fact. But it's not. And environmental sustainability. You got whole swaths of this country that believes that electric and wind and solar and that is Jetsons talk. They're like, no, I need my gasoline, and I need to burn the oils and do the things, and that's their prerogative. You know, that's their prerogative. But I guess if we're gonna have real peace, we need to agree somewhere somehow about environmental sustainability. You know, we got a lot to work on in all of these areas to get to real peace. Social justice alone, just how we treat our reentry, our formerly incarcerated people. We gotta, we don't, we say, we talk, we do a lot of talking where we say, they did the time, they did the crime, they did the time. They do the crime, they do the time. Okay, when they do the crime, they do the time, then what? You ready for them? They coming back to society. If they can come back and they get out and they can come back, they coming back to society. They did their time. What else do they owe us? Nothing. But they are second-class citizens. We make it harder for them to find work. We make it harder for them to find places to live because we make it hard for them to find work. Nobody wants to hire. Everybody's just felon-friendly this and felon-friendly that. And it's, man, I don't know, social justice just right there. We got to stop thinking that people are forever guilty. They say, everybody's about enforcement this and enforcement that, but they don't trust the enforcement. They don't trust the enforcement. Folks that come out of prison and jail, they have conditions of release. But we don't trust that. We don't trust our enforcement, but we're like, give the police all our money, but we don't trust them because we still judge these people, and we're trying to keep them out of our neighborhoods and out of our workplaces and out of our jobs, and how are they supposed to re-enter society? So it looks like real peace is predicated also on us realizing that we need to be honest about who we want and who we're going to support in our communities. And can they help? Are they a peace builder? I think it's really cool that we recognize this World Peace Day at a time when I think not just us in the United States, but a lot across the world, there's a lot of things happening. There's a lot of unrest and uneasiness. And if folks could take the time today to say, you know what, let me concentrate and think about how I can be an instrument for change. How can I be a peace builder, and not be consumed? I like having in my mind thinking that I'm not the only one today pondering what world peace means today. Albert Einstein said, peace cannot be kept by force. It can only be achieved by understanding. I love that. We need to understand. We need more understanding. We need more understanding. We need to understand why people are fearful of peace. Why don't they want peace? Why are they constantly agitating? Why aren't they pursuing healing? And that's the stuff that makes you feel good. When you're trying to bring peace to a region, or peace to a group, or peace to people, or peace just in your family. It's really wonderful when you can get all on the same page, have the same message, and everybody is like, we agree this is going to be peaceful for us and healing for us. I remember They had like peace. That's what they were. They were called peace summits when I was younger. In my day, younger. I was 30. That's what so I was, young, and I was learning, and I was, raising a kid and trying to be that parent that exposed him to things so he'd be ready for this world. And they would have peace summits. They would have rallies for peace, and people would just have signs out, and they had the peace symbol on it and hearts and stuff, and it was just like love. It was, man, I miss seeing those. I worked in Claremont, and there was some old senior folks that would stand on the corner like every Friday, and they would have, it was just like these peaceful people, and they would just like, it was to promote peace. That's because we need it. We need it. Societally, I think we need it. It's still so fragile around the world, There's so many different conflicts, climate change, things like that, things that threaten stability. I did some research. I said 10 ways to raise peaceful kids in an unpeaceful world. 10 ways to raise peaceful kids in an unpeaceful world. Children learn by watching, so we need to model behavior. Model peaceful behavior. Show kindness, patience, empathy. Let them see that. How you talk to your mom, how you talk to your partner, your wife, how you talk to the grocery store person. Your kids are watching you. They're watching us. And they're modeling that. So, model peaceful behavior. Especially like during conflict or stress. Teach emotional literacy. It says help kids name and understand their feelings. When they can express emotions with words, they're less likely to act out with aggression. I like that. I like that for me. Help kids name your feelings. I like that. Teach emotional literacy. Encourage compassion and empathy. See, that's what I feel is missing right now, folks. That's what I feel is missing right now. We're not encouraging compassion and empathy. I don't know. I feel like some folks are just going to their base selves, and everybody's letting their freak flags fly. And I think, man, these kids are watching us. And they're going to take this, they got to run this after we're gone. We're not going to be here forever. Peace begins with empathy. That's what I saw that quote. Create a safe and loving environment. A peaceful home is a foundation. Offer consistent love, boundaries, and security. That's all the kids want, is to feel secure. That's all humans. We want to be, as humans, we want to feel secure in our space, in our place. We all need boundaries. We just can't, that's just, if you're a mature adult, then you know that. We all have boundaries. We need boundaries. Otherwise, we just let people walk all over us. But your home is your castle. That's what they used to say back in the old days. Your home is your castle. That's your crib. Is that what the new kids say? That's your crib. That's your spot. That's your place. Make it peaceful. If it's the only peaceful place you have, then make it that. Make it that. This is really, really important. Expose them to diversity. Expose them to diversity. Teach them respect for different cultures, beliefs, and backgrounds. Celebrate differences and encourage curiosity over judgment. This is important. This is where you learn empathy. Because we're all different. We all have different experiences. We're all different. And this is where you learn to celebrate those differences. Is in diverse communities, diverse surroundings. Teach them the plight of other cultures. Teach them what other cultures went through and how they had to go through what they went through. Practice mindfulness. I like the last. Get involved in community service. Get involved in community service. I love that. I had there's an event this weekend, I believe. Um, is there somebody on the line, Eric? No, there. I think we at the right spot. Hey, I'm back. I saw the light flashing. I didn't think Eric had seen the light flashing, but I think it's Che, which is perfect because I'm a. Is that Che? Awesome. Let me get my headphones on, Che. Hold on. Um, See, this is what I love about live radio. I just seen her message that she said she was gonna be able to call. I asked her to call. That's fine, I think. Um, I asked her to call because I wanted her to talk about her event that she's having. So hold on a second. I'm gonna bring her up. Okay, great. Che, you there? Hi. I don't know why I can't hear her in my head, in my ears. Che, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, perfect. How you doing?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm well, so wonderful. I can't wait to see you in person soon. But I wanted,
Yes, ma'am.
I just got to,
Overdue for sure.
yes. Oh, so yeah, I'm gonna tell everybody too. So I've only asked a couple of people, but I asked Che, y'all. And you met her from before. She's with the NAACP here in San Bernardino. But she's with the WIN project here too. Um, but I've asked her to co-host with me a show or so. I said one show, huh? Didn't I? One show. So she said hopefully she's gonna take me up on my offer. So you'll be seeing her here in studio over the next month. And then next week, by the way, next week I have my co-host Ipiani Lockhart. He's gonna be coming on next week. He's gonna do the third Thursdays, I believe. So Che, you are one of the only. I was looking for World Peace Day events, World Peace Day events, and this is one of the only ones that came up. And I'm like, of course, because you are a part of this wonderful organization. But tell me about World Peace Day. So let me tell them real quick. It's World Peace Day, y'all. This is Saturday, September 20th at 1 p.m. It's at New Hope Family Life Center. It's at 1505 West Highland Avenue in San Bernardino. There's a RSVP via text to 909-341-0750. That's Salima's number. I think that's Salima. Okay, and then
Yeah,
uh-huh. And then
that's the organization.
okay, good. Oh, okay, cool. And then but this is for your youth peace challenge. Your youth peace challenge, and there's lots of other things you're going to be doing. Why? What are you doing? This is awesome. So what's going on with this event on Saturday?
So every year I throw a peace event. I am a firm believer that peace has to be taught.
Yep.
And so a lot of times when you're approaching people about wanting peace in your community, and you have to think about what peace looks like, and that's going to be a diverse perspective. But a lot of the times when you go into these communities, especially these communities that do have a higher populace of violence, you'll
Right.
see that when you talk to the community members, they have no real idea of what peace really looks like.
Exactly.
And so I made a commitment, almost 20 years now, to ensure that I am doing things that encourage peaceful actions, right? I want to teach people by showing people what peace looks like. So what we do is we have peace pledges. And so we have community members go to local sites that are all around the city that we work within, and they're able to take pledges of peace. And so there is going to be, this year, there's going to be different trees that are around, and you'll be able to pledge your efforts of peace and what you want to do in your community, and it will be placed on a tree, our peaceful tree is what we call it, as an effort that you're committed to making in your local community. So what we want to encourage is that individuals not just celebrate, this beautiful day, this international celebration of world peace, but we want to help showcase what that represents, and we want to actually see it be put into action in our communities, if not just for that day, for that week, right? And so this year we'll be at several different schools, we'll be at different churches, we'll be at our San Bernardino Police Department, who is partnered with us, and our CARES program to really help be at the centerfold of what our peace is going to look like, at least in our San Bernardino County community.
That's local, folks.
So, our event is going to actually be taking place again on the 20th of September, the day before World Peace Day.
Right.
But it will also be at different schools all next week up until our actual event.
Oh, okay, good. And you'll be posting those on your social so I can share them.
I will. We will post all of the different sites that we're going to be at. If you have any listeners who are interested in wanting to have a peaceful tree at their place of business or at their organization, we definitely would love to be able to provide you with one. That way, our community can go somewhere very local to them and take up their pledge of peace and make sure that they have their efforts that they want to implement on World Peace Day, which would be on that Sunday.
I love that, and I want to support you
on this. We are looking forward to it.
Oh, so are we. I think that we're, my shelter provider folks over at Family Assistance Program said that they were going to bring the kids. They wanted to bring the kids and have them do some things. So that's awesome. Thank you, Che, for giving us a call and sharing this wonderful event. When you come on the next time, I want you to talk about how this went. And how we can support you doing it again and next time, and how we can, spread the word and get this out. Everybody should be doing World Peace Day. Thank you so much, community. I appreciate you. My time has come to an end. I'll see you next week with Ipiani. We're going to talk about some good stuff. Happy World Peace Day. Take it easy, but take it.
NBC